I just thought I'd show you real quick how I have my zones set up on my Rachio and my different schedules because it was a little tough for me to understand at first. But it's really pretty simple once you get into it. You'll see here's my watering schedule at the top of the screen here. Here's my yard. Here's the different zones that I have. But to edit your watering schedule, you just hit edit, and you can set up for the first time when you first get your device, hit that plus sign. And what you really want is you really want Flex Daily. I already have one of those set up, so I'll show you how that works. That is this Flex Grass schedule right here. And you simply want to enable it. You can name it whatever you want. When you put in the variables for your lawn, it will recommend some times. You tell it what zones you want. So I want it on all my zones except for the shrubs. When it will water any day, start time. If you want to water it only on specific days, maybe you have a policy with your HOA or with your city on odd or even days. That's how you can do that. We want it any day for me. I have it start at 4:30. It's nice and early here. Gives it a chance to soak in before the sun comes out. And then you want Smart Cycle turned on. And I'll show you what that does here in just half a second. So the biggest concept with Rachio that was tough for me to comprehend at first was simply how does it know how much to water? And I'll show you my front lawn as an example. So this is a picture of when it first got put in, but this moisture level that's here in the middle of the screen, if you click on that, this shows you how much water your lawn needs based upon what Rachio thinks and what you've put in on the variables, but also what happens in the environment around you. Now, I'm not a scientist or anything like that, so I won't pretend to know all the detail of it, but if you click on that moisture button and you hit more detail, you can see that this is actually my weather station, this PWS bucking horse. Here's the previous moisture balance, so that's what basically the day before it ended. So let's say today is Thursday. So at midnight on Wednesday, where was the moisture balance? Meaning how much water is left in the ground to water your grass. It figures all this out based upon all the variables. They use the analogy of think of a bucket, and you can fill the bucket, but you never want it to get less than halfway full. So as the sun comes out, as the grass uses the water, it's an interesting analogy to think about. It makes more sense when you look at the graph and explain this here. I didn't water it on May 19th. We did have 0.3 inches of precipitation, but 0.05 went away in crop evapotranspiration. I can't speak that well, but basically if you take these together, so 0.66 plus 0.3 minus 0.05 gets us back to, you'll see here, our current moisture balance for that day. So you can see the days go through here, and it shows you, here's what's forecasted even for today. We're at 0.03 inches of rain. We turn this graph here, and it shows you. So here in the green, here's your field capacity, what your grass can handle. And so it's rained, and we've watered it in between there. And this orange line is what we allow it to deplete to. So it's like that half a bucket deal. And I'll show you how you can adjust this even more. This is all changes and configures based upon what you have selected for these variables. So we have cool season grass selected. We have clay loam. There's some cool tools on the Rachio website that show you how to figure out what exactly you have as your soil, and you can pull up this map. It's pretty cool. And then how much exposure. This gets lots of sun. And then what kind of nozzle, so how much water is coming out of that, what kind of slope. And then if you really want to get detailed, you can go and adjust these advanced variables. The only thing that I really adjust is this crop coefficient, which is listed at 78%. If your grass in that area is looking a little light, or maybe it's growing a little bit too much, this is the easiest way to adjust that. So if you make it, you increase that number, it's going to water more often. So it's at 78% now. Let me just show you back what. So our moisture level is at 25%. So let's see if we change this to 20%. What happens? So we go back here, and our moisture level will actually be recalculated. Give it a second. based upon what that crop coefficient is. Maybe it doesn't do it quite in real time here, but actually, yeah, I'll show you. It does when you save it. I forgot about that. So it's still at 25, but let's change this down to 15. Big change. Save it. So when I come back to it, it'll show our moisture level is now at 103%. So you'll see if I go and change it back to that crop coefficient, back to, was it 7, 8? Let's do it 80. It's looking a little light. Save it. Come back. It's at 20% now. So that crop coefficient is a really great way to up and to increase and decrease the amount of times that your water is running for that particular zone. And all these different variables make a big difference if you play around with them. That's what I love about Rachio is I set it and I forget it once I've played around with it the first time. And then you can see here's my watering schedule. So in blue is our shrubs and green is the grass. Actually, it's raining right now, so we're going to get a little bit more, maybe a day or two pushed out here. But you can see on the 29th, it's going to water my front lawn for 10 minutes, soak it, because it knows what kind of soil it's on. I can tell how long it's going to soak it, and then it's going to do it for 10 minutes, soak it for 30 minutes, front lawn again. Really great, smart product, easy to use once you get past that kind of initial setup. And if you're just noticing that your lawn's a little green or a little dying, you just change that crop coefficient a little bit, and Rachio handles all the rest. That was the toughest thing for me to understand, so hopefully this little tutorial helps you understand that a little bit more.